Welcome to Read the Bible with me with Steve Hernandez. Me? Shit, you know I'm Steve Hernandez. So good to be here. I've had a terrible, rough week. So many terrible things have happened to me. I broke a chair at the open mic yesterday. It's every fat person's nightmare. Gerardo, you ever broken a chair before?
Yeah, plastic chairs, not my friend, not my friend at all. I can't do it.
What? Tell me about this. What happened?
Well, backyard barbecues and whatnot.
Yeah.
I broke a chair. Just the leg was not as strong as I had anticipated.
Yes.
And fucking landed on my ass. Just like, you know how like a corner fall. It's not even like even fall back. It's just like, oh fuck, what's happening? Yeah.
This is not what happened. Oh, by the way, that was super producer Gerardo Eloquent. Thank you. He makes everything look so beautiful and everything. I mean, my face does a lot of that too. But, I was at an open mic at the Offbeat mic in in Highland Park. And it was a plastic chair. I wasn't leaning on it. I'm not that kind of cocky. Okay, I'm fat. I'm not as fat, thank God. And that did help in how I felt yesterday. I've lost 25 pounds or something like that in the past like 6 weeks. But I sat in it and it exploded. It wasn't one of these. It was not a slow thing. The chair blew up, and it was right when she was starting the mic. And my back hit the floor. I mean, that's how much this thing like blew up. Just and my back. The air didn't get knocked out of me, and this is right. She was walking up to start the mic.
Yeah.
And so everyone was like, "Whoa!" Everyone like turned and luckily I just screamed out, "A fat person's worst nightmare!" Like I just screamed that. So they kind of laughed, but they someone brought me another chair and. You know, it wasn't that thing. Comedian Zach Vile was like, "Do you want to sit on one of these metal chairs?" And I was like, "Actually, Zach, I would love to break a second chair and a third chair. I want people to remember me. If I'm going to be breaking chairs, I want to go down, baby."
Well, something more embarrassing happened to me last night.
What?
I fucking pissed in my kitchen.
Were you awake?
I was sleepwalking. I woke up before I started pissing, but then when I woke up, I was, you know how you're in a haze. You're like, okay, fuck it. And I was like, what am I doing? But I just was doing it. And
yes.
Then when I finished peeing, I realized I just pissed on my kitchen floor.
But you had finished already. Okay.
Yeah. And it was a lot of piss. And then I stayed up for like a half hour cleaning it up using all my paper towels. And I didn't really feel shame until this morning.
Yes.
But I was laughing while I was cleaning it, but also at the same time, and this is gross by the way. Spoiler alert, this is gross. But while I was cleaning, I was laughing, and then I was like mad because I was like, fuck, what if I'm not able to go to sleep after this? Because I'm working right now. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It was like 3:30 in the morning. The witching hour.
You went to sleep, right?
I went to sleep like nothing. And then I woke up in the morning shameful.
There's nothing to be ashamed of. If you didn't do anything wrong, that's one of the great things about not drinking anymore.
Yeah.
If you didn't do anything wrong, you don't have anything to be ashamed about. I like I said, I wasn't that embarrassed for that to happen to me. You know, I'm older now. Got a beautiful, intelligent wife. These kids can't take that from me. You know, I screamed at them at the open mic afterwards. I said, "Yeah, I'm not embarrassed, okay? I'm too old to get embarrassed anymore. You want to know what's embarrassing? Getting abused by your dad when you're very little. You know, you take a shame with you deep down." Which is true. Yeah. I do think that happens. But, yeah, and, you know, some people, hey, they laughed. I hope you laughed, okay? But it was a bad week for me weight-wise. I don't like to I'm not ashamed that I'm fat or anything. I am a very sexy person. I'm not the kind of sexy where you see like fat guys, haha, this is a funny joke to me, you know, like a Cedric the Entertainer bit. When you're around me, I give off sensual vibes. Sometimes I see conventionally attractive people start to get turned on by me, and they're like, they don't understand what's happening, Gerardo. And they're like, well, I'm not usually attracted to fat people. Well, you're attracted to this fat person. But Wednesdays are my way, and we tape on Wednesdays. I've been doing great for the past 6 weeks, and this past week, I put back on like 3 or 4 pounds. It's not, you know, I'll take it off quickly, but I got cocky, and I look back on what I ate. I write what I eat every day, and I was not dieting this week. I do this thing where I let myself get one late night Del Taco. I love Del Taco with my whole heart right here, and driving home from work, when I bartend, I get off of work like at 2:30, 3 o'clock, and I'm usually hungry. If I eat at 6 p.m., you're hungry by then. And it's one of my greatest, I've been bartending 13, 14 years. My greatest weaknesses is getting Del Taco after work. And I know I can't exclude it completely. So I let myself, I work Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays at the Chatterbox in Covina. So I give myself Thursday, since my weigh-in's Wednesday, get your full Del Taco meal. But then I've started doing this thing with Julia where I give her $100 bill. And I say, hey, you can spend this if I eat Del Taco tonight or Sunday. And she's like, okay. I was like, in fact, yeah, if I eat on one of those days, you spend it. Don't even talk to me about it. Buy whatever you want, some wasteful thing. And this Sunday, we came from the beach, so I didn't give her the 100. This fool got sneaky. You got my order. Stevie Anderson, we were just hiking today, and she asked me, what's your order at Del Taco? I'm going to tell you my shameful full order. It's a lot.
Hit us with it, dude.
What's your order?
My order, 3 red bean and cheese burritos.
That's not bad.
Bro, $3.
$3, and that's I know Weight Watchers points. That's like 30 points. That's not going crazy.
Okay.
I mean, you get 40 points a day, so that is kind of a lot for that.
Oh my God! Wait
till I'm about to tell you though, folks. I get a half-pound green burrito.
Nice.
That's cool. Rational. Spicy chicken jack quesadilla. Okay, fine. If you just walk away, folks. If you walk away right there, it's not that bad. You know I ain't walking away. That's not how I do things. And then I get 2 classic grilled chicken burritos, 2 for $5.50. That's my order, and it's something like, I think it's like 75 points or something.
Oh my God!
And that's after a full day of eating. So
how much money is that?
It's 12.23 or something. Damn. Like that. Yeah. I'm sorry. I had that twice this week, and I've been cocky. I've been losing a pound and a half, 2 pounds a week. I got cocky. Gonna get back on the train, and it's not gonna happen to me anymore. The show hasn't launched yet proper. By the time we're seeing this, you might see the first episode back to back. But already the word is on the street. If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, if you're a pastor or a preacher who's corny, who's taking advantage of people, there's a big, the big man, Steve H, is coming for you.
Yeah.
And a very popular local LA pastor, a man by the name of Chad Veach, word got out. I've been making fun of Chad Veach quite a bit. And this week, Chad Veach came for me. Play that clip, Gerardo.
Let me just speak to all the single people in our church. If you're dating this year, don't you date Sexy Steve. You need Steady Eddie. I got a case for Steady Eddie in 2021. You don't need Sexy Steve, leave him at home. You get you a Steady Eddie. He got a job, he brushes teeth and floss, and he pays his taxes, and on top of it, he ties, okay? So let's get Steady Eddie. All the single girls in the church like, does he exist? He does.
I like how he says, like, one of the qualities of Steady Eddie is that he tithes.
Of course.
Of course.
You see the way they just... If you don't know Chad Veach, he's a pastor of a local hipster church called Chloe. And he's very popular. I forgot. I have a crazy friend who sent me him. I am obsessed with him in a little ways because he's a good preacher. I'm not going to lie. He does have a fake Southern / black accent.
Oh, yeah.
That's not how he talks. I don't give a fuck what anyone does. He does put some butter on top of that stuff. But he's a good preacher, so I can't hate on him too much. But the fool loves talking about tithing. And so he'll bring it up a lot. But, hey, Chad Veach, you're on my fucking radar, bro. Me and Gerardo are coming to your church. Make sure you subscribe to our Patreon, Read the Bible with Me podcast. We're gonna give so many fucking episodes. One of them is going to be, I didn't even tell you this, Gerardo, I thought of it, is a church review. We're gonna go to churches and review the churches. And all you fucking fake pastors out there who are doing it for the money, we're coming for you. And you have good reason to be afraid. Yeah. Chad Veach, you're number 1 on my list. You and your corny ass Hitler mustache. He seems like a good guy. I mean, some of these guys, it's like, you can't even, I almost feel bad with them. They're so trapped in this thing that it's almost like cops. I'm going to talk a little bit about cops later, but you know, you could say, I've never felt comfortable saying a cab, all cops are bastards.
Yeah.
Because I've just know some good cops. And I know that people, a lot of the times, are just trapped in the way of thinking about cops in a way.
Yeah.
So I don't feel comfortable saying that because it's a whole big system that's been going on for 100, 200 years. People don't understand. They think that way. Maybe Chad Veach doesn't know what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I know what you're doing, Chad. And I'm coming for you. You know,
I can't wait till we go to churches with legal pads, dude. And we're in the back just taking notes.
Well, you know, we'll take a journal. I'll show you. Didn't you used to take notes at church?
No, never.
Oh, dude.
I was too filled with the Holy Spirit, dude.
Nah, man. My pastor, Pastor Jim Reeve, like I said, he was always teaching bullet points. I'm writing things down, notes, James chapter 5 thing, blah, blah, blah. Oh, great point. Wow. Underlining, like, yeah, Spirit.
That's how I am with the AA book, bro.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. But yeah, no, I used to take notes. We're going to take notepads and then we'll be doing that.
Legs crossed, dude. You know
You know, I made a big mistake last week. Hopefully, you're going to see these things back to back. We didn't explain what the podcast was going to be about.
I told you right after we finished, I was like, we should tell them we're going to read the Bible, right?
Yeah, I know. What if I just called it Read the Bible with me and we never read the Bible? I'm going to read the Bible, okay? We're reading the Bible. I've been thinking about this idea for a long time now, and I didn't really understand how we're going to choose it, how we're going to break it down. But what I finally settled on was if you ever want to study the Bible or books in the Bible, you have no choice but to buy like Christian books about these things. I was looking for some kind of academic books that could just break them down. It ain't happening, folks.
Yeah.
You've got to go into the belly of the beast, Christian bookstores, these kind of things, to find what's the word? Devotionals, basically. And the book we're reading, this for the next 11 weeks is the Book of James. Are you familiar with the Book of James at all?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay, the Book of James is in the New Testament. James was the brother of Jesus, and this is basically the only book he has. It's 5 chapters, and it's basically set up like Proverbs, where he's given a lot of advice. This isn't a typical book. If you know your Bible, you know that most of the New Testament and the theology that we think of as Christianity came from the Apostle Paul. We're talking like 80% came from this lunatic, the Apostle Paul. That I go back and forth for. We're not talking about Paul right now, so we're not gonna really go crazy. But the Apostle Paul murdered a bunch of Christians, and then Jesus came to him in a vision, knocked him off a horse. His name was Saul. He becomes Paul, and then him and Peter, the first apostle, fight a lot about basically what is the future of Christianity. Paul ended up winning in many ways. A lot of the New Testament is basically letters he wrote to different churches, settling disputes and everything like that. The Book of James isn't that. The Book of James is a great book of advice that I've always loved and that I hold actually very close to my heart for a couple of different reasons. One of my mentors growing up was a police officer, a detective named Dan Brooks, who I love dearly. And he was one of my mentors in youth group. It taught us about integrity, about being a man. And one of the things we did one summer, probably when I was like 17, 18 years old, was memorize the entire Book of James.
Damn.
5 chapters. It's kind of impressive. It's not, it is what it is. But we memorized it.
What's the point of memorizing the whole thing? Just like to shoot it on the street out to people or what?
Yeah, but also to have it in your heart.
Okay. Yeah.
But a lot of it is like, we just watched for my other podcast, Who's Your God? We just watched the movie God's Not Dead 2 with Melissa Joan Hart. I encourage everyone to watch this movie. It's so bad. It's so funny.
Okay.
But a lot of times people ask you questions, and like if you're a good Christian, you're supposed to be able to just be like, actually James chapter 2 verse 3 talks about that. And then I fucking say it.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, dang.
Yeah, now I know where you got your sexy from, dude.
Yeah, they're like, dang. They're all impressed. Like, this fool, man, he's got that shit memorized. That's what Christians think is cool.
Yeah.
But it also, you keep, to memorize things, you have to keep looking over it. You get these things in your heart. And so at one point, I had this whole book, all 5 chapters memorized. And I really like this book. It's very advice focused. We're going to go over it. As you listen to it, you're going to find that a lot of it makes sense. Some of it's corny. Some of it doesn't make sense because you have to have faith in Jesus Christ being our Savior, which I don't, and I don't think is necessary when you're reading the Bible. That's one reason I want to, dude. I haven't told the story a lot because it's kind of embarrassing.
Yeah.
But this book, the Book of James, actually got me sex one time. This is very early on when I was bartending at the Chatterbox. I was wearing a fedora. And I don't have regrets with my times in fedoras. I remember, did you ever wear fedoras?
No, I wanted to, but then I realized I didn't want to.
You seem like a fedora guy, too.
I know. I've been tempted to wear it on my other podcast, but I can't do it, dude.
I got in pretty early, not that early, but I remember I was at near a place, a restaurant in Costa Mesa. What was the name of it? It's not important. But we walked by with my buddy, and he was like, Steve, that hat would look great on you. And I was like, you think? And I went, and I put it on. And I remember my ex-wife at the time was like, I don't think so. And I was like, nah. I was like, no way. I look sharp. And then I just started buying hats. At one point, I had 15, 20 hats.
Yeah.
Nice hats. Paying $100 at Gordon Brothers or something. Straight up Jake Kroger from the Comedy Bureau. Just loving these hats. And then, as we know, fedoras went out of style. But that's not what happened at this point. At this point, I was wearing a fucking sick-ass fedora.
Yeah.
Bartending at the Chatterbox. It was very slow. We're talking about 12, 13 years ago. And then two cute chicks come in, just a couple of babes. So it's just me talking to the women, and we're having fun. We're talking. I don't know how it came up, but I said, oh, yeah, I used to be a youth pastor. And she's like, oh, my God, no way. And I'm like, yeah, I know the Bible's kind of my thing, knowing the Word of God, kind of my thing. And she was like, what's your favorite book? And I was like, gotta be James. I was like, straight up, gotta be James. And she's like, that's my favorite book. And then, dude...
Game over.
I just straight up started saying it. I started reciting the first book. This first chapter, or the first verses that would say, consider it pure joy, my brothers. I just launched into it. And she was like, oh, it hit. I mean, no other time is this ever going to happen again. But for this particular girl, at this particular time, a bartender in a fedora, you're going to see, though, the fedora comes into play later, is it hit her heart. And she, at some point, this is my old move at the Chatterbox, is I would say, hey, if I'm vibing, if you're bartending and you're vibing with someone, it doesn't happen as often as you would think it was. And now that I don't drink it, it's virtually doesn't happen at all. But every now and then you get some juice with someone, you get chemistry. You know what I'm talking about when I say the juice.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Okay. When was the last time you had chemistry with someone, right off the bat, that it wasn't a date or nothing, it's just at a party or something, and you're like, oh my God, what's happening here? Can you think of it?
There was this girl at AA when I first was getting sober, but I was also in a relationship, but I was like, damn, dude.
And it was just cooking right away, right? And you could tell she probably liked you too?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the juice, folks. I remember one of the last times I had the juice was years ago. Me and my friend John Gove were going to the, what's it called? That sandwich place. What's the Farms, Mendocino Farms downtown.
Oh, damn, that's a good sandwich.
Yeah, it's a good sandwich. A lot of crafty places. A lot of times for lunch, you'll get Mendocino Farms. I went with John Gove, and if you've never been to Mendocino Farms, you'll walk up and there's their host, at least back then there was a host that explained it, get in line over here, buy over here. Yeah. This short little cute redhead, little chubby, oh, praise God, I'll give it all up. She was working, we were there, me and John, her and I started talking, and things got cooking. I'm telling you, this is 5, 6, 7 years later. The Mendocino Farms girl, it was cooking. And, no, it must have been longer with Jago because I was still married. So we're talking about 8 or 9 years ago. And I'm talking about the Mendocino Farms girl 8 or 9 years later.
That's how much it was cooking.
Yeah, we were cooking. And we walked away, and John, my buddy John goes, what was that all about? Yeah. And I was like, I don't know. I was in a fog. We get our sandwiches, and John was like, you got to ask for a number. And I was like, nah, man. I was just I don't like explaining to people that I'm polyamorous. It's just so I feel like such a fucking creep all the time. Yeah. So I was just like, nah, man, I'm not saying nothing. But here I am, 9, 10 years later, talking about you. If you're watching, little redhead girl, remember the big man, okay? And sober and ready to mingle. So this girl, we go outside. I said, hey, you want to go make out in the alley? And she's like, sure. So we went out. There's an alley behind the chatterbox where you go, you make out. You guys start making out. And this is where I learned that, because, I still had a very Christian mindset for a lot of time. This is where I learned that women like to have sex as much as guys do.
Yeah.
I didn't know that for many, many years. I'm sorry I was sheltered. I was an idiot. I'm not as big of an idiot now. But girls would all the time, like, you'd go out. I really just wanted a sweet kiss. Is it a crime to want a sweet kiss with the stranger? No. I've never kissed a stranger and regretted it later. No. You wake up the next day, fine, good, delicious. But I just wanted a kiss, and these girls just start taking off their pants or like lifting their skirt. So, this woman's taking off her pants. I'm like, okay. And, we start having sex. In the middle of sex at some point, the woman says to me, I can't believe I'm having sex with a guy in a fedora.
I feel like you've told me that story before, but not the fedora part.
The fedora is key. Because it ends up being embarrassing.
Yeah.
So, Fedora Book of James girl, if you're out there, give me a call. I'm sober and ready to not wear a fedora. So I love the Book of James. Now, when I'm trying to figure out, all right, let's start off with the Book of James, a book that I love, a book that I've memorized, I remember. I was looking for devotionals, things to go out, just in ways to break up the chapter. I don't want to fucking think about it too much. I want to read the Bible again, but I don't need to be going on vacation with the Bible or anything. And I thought of one of my favorite preachers, a woman by the name of Joyce Meyers. I still love watching preaching, and I love T.D. Jakes. We'll have to get some Jake clips on here. I love Joyce Meyers for different reasons. It's not like they don't believe some crazy shit still, but I just believe that they're coming from a sincere place. Let's play, just for you to know, because we're going to be studying this from her words for the next 11 weeks, somewhat. But let's play a little clip of Joyce Meyers, see what you guys think of her.
1 through 3. Blessed, fortunate, prosperous, and favored by God is the man who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, following their advice and example, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits down to rest in the seat of scoffers. I'm just going to make this quick. It is important who you spend your time with.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Look, they're loving it. Yes. Yeah, that's good. I mean, that she's just reading, I believe, from Proverbs too.
Oh, I think it's Psalms.
Oh, is it Psalms?
Yeah.
Psalms and Proverbs is kind of the same.
Can I just say something really quick?
Yes.
She looks like a Rick and Morty character. Am I wrong?
I've only seen one episode of Rick and Morty.
Okay. Yeah. She's got a weird thing going on with her face. Is that because of plastic surgery, or is she in dire need of plastic surgery?
It's plastic surgery. I hadn't watched Joyce Meyers in so long, and to look for a clip, I watched this clip yesterday, and I was like, oh, Joyce Meyers, come on, not you too.
Yeah.
Because she's from Missouri. I love Joyce Meyers because she always talks about her husband. She's very real. She talks about all the troubles she's had and her husband had. She came from a really fucked up place, like Dolly Parton almost, an abusive first marriage, molested, all these fucked up things.
Okay, yeah.
She has all her kids working for her now too. She's always telling stories about their interpersonal relationships, which I think is great. I love that shit. And it's one of the reasons I love her. Is I do believe she's like a very sincere person too. She's obviously gotten very, very rich. I don't know what the line is for that, and I'm trying to call that out. But I was a little bummed to see that she's gotten, because she was an old woman when I listened to her 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And she looked exactly the same.
Joyce, just give it up. You're not going to get younger.
Well, it kind of bums me out about plastic surgery stuff with Christians, with believers, because they're not supposed to have the same values as the world, in my opinion. Yeah. I'm not a follower of Christ. I would never call myself that. But there are different parts of the Bible. What I understood the teaching to be is that our values are supposed to be different than that of the world. So I think we're supposed to be okay with getting older because the things we value are inside. The things we value, the kingdom of God, you can't see with your eyes. So when Joyce Meyers or other prominent Christians start to get plastic surgery, I don't have zero interest, zero anything against plastic surgery, but it just bums me out to be like, oh, you're afraid of, looking old too.
Yeah.
Like what? I mean, how are you any different than the world? So that bums me out. I'm not trying to. I don't know what it's like to be a woman, so I don't know what it's like to feel that kind of pressure or anything.
Yeah.
But whenever Christians conduct themselves exactly like secular people, it just kind of bums me out a little bit. But I love her to death.
Yeah,
she believes
great.
crazy shit. Such like she literally. I was watching this episode, and she literally talks about the devil like the enemy. Like Christians don't call him the enemy, but she's like, the devil will do that to you. Like the devil is lurking. There's this bad guy who's looking to fuck up your day and do that kind of stuff. Do not believe anything like that. And do not believe the magical aspects of Christianity. I think they've probably first popped up because people were illiterate 2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these ideas matched up with different pagan religions that were going on at the same time. The idea of it's so funny. So look, okay, so this is the book. If you guys want to get it with us, it's James by Joyce Meyers. You can get it anywhere, I believe. And I'm using that basically. I read every chapter, but to break down the verses. Like today, we're going to be James chapter 1, verses 2 and 4. But in the intro, she goes, "This is James, Jesus's brother." Well, technically, it's his half brother. They shared the same mom, but Jesus, obviously, her father was God. His father was God. She says that in the intro. She's like, "Oh, we do know that it was literally God's sperm that made Jesus." Like the idea that God came down and impregnated a woman against her will, mind you, without permission. That God would have sex with a 14-year-old girl and put his God cum in her to make him literally half God. That's some pagan, old school Greek mythology, dumb shit that makes zero sense that people like Joyce Meyers and, I think the newer Christians or newer pastors are like, understand they can't talk like that, or they kind of like say it in a way where it's like, this isn't that literally maybe.
But Joyce is like, fuck that.
Yeah, she says no. Technically, they're half brothers because God impregnated his mom.
It's a good point of view, though. I mean, it's true.
I know she's like, let me just clear this up.
Yeah.
Let me clear this up. But so, she's going to say crazy shit like that too. Let's read these verses. Okay.
I think it's also important to state that I haven't read any of these. Consciously, too. You told me which book we're going to read.
Yeah.
But I wanted to have like a fresh perspective on things as we read it.
And we saw last week you don't really know the Bible that much.
Nah,
you went to church. Yeah. You would just listen to the preaching.
Yeah. I know that one verse from 2 Kings about the she-bears eating 40 kids. Because it was funny.
We're going to have to go over some crazy verses, too. Because there are some crazy stories in the Bible, obviously, too. Okay, so Gerardo never knows this. I have an idea what they mean, what they say. So Gerardo and I are going to talk about these things somewhat. But, like I said earlier, a lot of the books in the New Testament were letters to people. James is writing to some church. I didn't care to investigate what church it was. But he's writing and giving advice, basically.
Damn, first of all, look at that Bible, fool.
Can you get a close-up on my name right there?
Get that gold trim, dog.
Yeah, look at that gold trim, my name imprinted. We would go to the Christian bookstore. There was, what's it called? I think it's the Lighthouse in Covina. And, when I was on fire for God, and you're looking at all the Christian music, you're looking at the Veggie Tales stuff. And, I would look at different newer Bibles and be like, oh.
If only.
Yeah, smell them and stuff like that. This is my true. I've got a couple other Bibles laying around, but this is from my youth pastor days. This is like my sword. When I look at this, I have old notes written in it still, certain things underlined.
I have a red trim Bible, like something you get at the hotel, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no. This is like a nice $150 Bible, probably. Damn. A study Bible that has different things. You could look on notes on here. It explains things, what the words mean in Greek, and maybe connect you to other things.
Yeah.
This is a great Bible. I treasure it. Let's see. I'll read this first verse. She doesn't cover this, but this is just let's just read it. It goes, James, a servant of God and of the Lord Jesus Christ, to the 12 tribes scattered across the nations, greetings. And here are the 2 verses for this week. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete and not lacking anything. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Let me read it again. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything.
So basically just like keep your eyes on the bag. You know what I mean? Like don't let things get to you quickly. Persevere through hardships and through the power of God, I'm assuming you'll be able to encounter anything.
Yeah, kind of. That's always going to be the real thing. But let's break this down a little bit at a time. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds. Mm-hmm. This is a crazy request. This is kind of one of those Jesus things that goes to God against everything you hear. I don't typically like challenges in my life at all. Who likes challenges? Who likes to get in a fight with your mom?
Yeah.
Or who likes to have a good friend maybe you're working on a project with and you fundamentally disagree? I know for Chatterbox, that's my hit show every Sunday night in Covina. There's 4 producers, Lisa Chanou, Scott Lurs, my wife, Julia Loken. And deciding when to come back right now post-COVID is very difficult. Mm-hmm. And Lisa and Scott work at bars and restaurants. I work at a bar and restaurant. We are getting all this information. I thank God truly that we're on the same page, but it could very well be one of us wants to come back sooner. I mean, I've gotten in fights with Lisa and Scott. They're some of my dearest friends, and for me, it's agony. Yeah. I don't know. Can you think of a time when you got in a fight with one of your best friends or something like that?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, it's not fun, but I do agree with the sentiment of the verse where it's like consider it pure joy. It's basically like be happy to be alive, you know, in a sense.
Yes.
But also with the Bible, you should be also happy to die, right? Like
yeah. I mean, you know, this verse it's all saying the thing. So what you're doing is grabbing little pieces.
Yeah.
But the whole thing is going to be there. So we haven't even finished the second verse that we're going to talk about because it's right there. So this is consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that it'll test your faith.
Yeah.
Your faith will learn to persevere, and that it'll make you a whole person. So it's saying that, and this is kind of a Buddhist way of thinking too. You want to face as many of these trials as possible, because it makes you stronger.
Yeah.
I always, if you're a comedian watching or anything like that, we go to open mics. If you don't know that, we go to open mics. And open mics generally suck.
Yes.
Yeah, they're at bars or they're at coffee shops. It's other comics only. Nobody's listening. You go up there, you talk, and you bomb, and you eat shit, and you do that kind of stuff. But when you first starting stand-up, you have to do it. I know when I started and Scott started, we were going to 10, 15 mics a week, like crazy amount of doing these awful things from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. trying to get 2 or 3 mics in. And they suck, but you need to do it to, A, get used to being up there. It kills something in you. You know, people always joke about it, but it's one of the biggest fears of people is to be on stage.
Yeah.
Or to be in front of people, to speak in front of them. One of their biggest fears. That's a real thing. We're monkeys. We don't like to be separated. We like to be part of the group. And the first couple of years of stand-up, you just go up there and eat shit and feel stupid. And then your body realizes, oh, I'm not going to die. Nobody's going to kick me out of the group and send me to the jungle where I'm going to die and starve.
Yeah.
But you need that, right? Have you seen these TikTok comics or YouTube comics that don't do that? Or there's comics, too, that just kind of throw parties and get their own group, and then they just perform at things that aren't open mics. Mm-hmm. And they're pretty funny. Their jokes work and stuff like that. But you could tell these comics, when they're not real comics like that, when they're not used to getting, like, punched in the stomach, where you tell a joke and nobody laughs, that, like, how could you even begin to understand how much that hurts?
Yeah.
It's literally like you're swinging and just taking a woof. Like, whoo, like that one didn't work. That one always works. Like that kind of a thing. And the more you do it, the more you're used to feeling that thing, the more you understand that, like, oh, it's fine. You have to get used to that feeling of facing trials and understanding you're not going to die. everything's going to be fine. And I do think that trials are important in relationships too.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people that think in romantic relationships or in friendships that the best ones don't fight, but that's just, I've never found that to be the case. To me, the best ones, if something comes up, you're able to communicate that, and where people feel safe to be open and vulnerable and lash out. One of my favorite pastors, George Rosher, would always say, in terms of interpersonal relationships, that you can only, we have bridges between each of us. You know, all your friends and your family, we have bridges between each other. And depending on how strong those bridges are, that's the kind of thing you could take across. Like, I can't take a tank across a bridge that's weak.
Yeah.
I can't be open and vulnerable and, you know, have a real argument with you or have a real debate and know that you're going to stay there. A lot of times relationships collapse over those things. So I'm just saying, the more, at some point, Gerardo, you and me are going to get in a fight. I don't like to think about it. Let's finish these verses here. Consider pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete and not lacking anything. Let's see, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Well,
is that the next verse?
Yeah. These are that. I just read the verses.
Oh, because you know your testing of.
Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. I was reading this earlier, and I was trying to figure out, well, if you don't have faith in Jesus Christ, which I don't believe that, and the book of James talks about this in later chapters too. I don't really believe, I don't think it matters what you believe. I think it matters what you do.
Yeah.
James talks about this, hits this on the nail in the next chapter, or at the end of this chapter even. So I don't believe like that you have to believe Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior to go in heaven. I don't believe in heaven or anything like that either. I've just always thought that I've never understood it. Do you know the story of Jesus and the two thieves when he's dying on the cross?
The two thieves next to him, he says, like, we're going to go to heaven together, right?
Yeah, one of them, like, kind of makes fun of Jesus. Yeah. And the other guy goes, I believe you are like God. And he goes, now we're going to heaven together.
Yeah.
And so there's always this idea with Christians that you can just pray to God last minute even. And then, if you say these magic words. These are all, like, like I keep saying, there's this, like, elements of magic in Christianity, and those always struck me as bogus.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to save us. I don't think we need to be saved. If there is no afterlife, I believe in God. I believe that God is love, and I don't believe that a loving being would put any of his own kids in eternal fire. I don't think there's a hell either. So I don't think there's anything that needs to be saving. But I do believe that Christ came to tell us, to remind us that there is a different system that's going on other than the system we know of as the world, the rules of the world, this domination, violent thing that appears to know. He's saying there's a different way to do that. And later on, in one of my favorite parables called The Sheep and the Goats, these Christians come to him. They go to God in heaven. And they go, you know us, God. We went to church. We did all this stuff. And he goes, hey, he's like, I don't know you. When I was hungry, you didn't feed me. When I was in prison, you didn't visit me. When I was sick, you didn't come visit. You didn't come help to heal me. I think how we treat people is basically, that's all that matters in this world.
Yeah. So like my big thing with Jesus and God is the resentful thing. It's like God, to me, from what I've heard, I haven't read the Bible book, like the whole book. He's a very resentful guy. Am I wrong?
It's not. It's so funny too, because it's
when I was in jail, fool, you didn't come write me a letter or anything.
Well, that thing to me is in this particular thing. I think a lot of what Jesus came from is to say, hey, we're all fuck ups, and all that matters is these two things. One of them is treat people the way you want to be treated. Mm-hmm. And love people that way, and love God with all your heart, mind, and soul. I believe Jesus said those are the two most important things in all of that. I don't think that the way the Bible paints him, he could be like that.
Yeah.
Like, he's mad. He's
Yeah.
vengeful.
Yeah.
And he likes to keep score.
Yeah, exactly.
And to me, love, people don't keep score. You can be aware of how things are, but there's no way God the Father, I mean, all of it, that God cares if you masturbate or have premarital sex, all of that stuff, that God, this all-powerful being, the God of the universe.
Thanos.
Yeah, Thanos. He's much stronger than Thanos. They end up killing Thanos, right? That he gives a fuck if you have premarital sex is, Christians would say, oh, that's comforting. To me, I hope the God of the universe has better things to do than care what and if I masturbate. The Super Bowl, who wins.
Yeah.
I pray to God he doesn't look at nations like America and love America more or anything like that. I've lost my way. I don't know why we're talking about this.
Yeah, just the resentful thing. Like he's keeping tabs on people, but then like the magic aspect of Christianity where, oh, but if you fucking praise me before you go drown, you're going to come up with and chill with me,
Yeah.
It just doesn't add up to me.
Yeah, it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
And, in middle school and high school, I asked these same questions. A lot of people who grew up in church ask these same questions, and the people don't have answers because it doesn't make sense. The testing of your faith. When I read this now, like I said, that's what we started talking about. What do I have faith in?
Yeah.
What do I believe in? And I do really think, and you and I were talking about this off air some, is that I believe in, treat people with love.
Yeah.
I believe that you work hard. I'm not saying that the entertainment industry rewards this, but even with comedy, I'm like, you try your best to be funny, you work your ass off, and you treat people right, and good things will come to you. That's a thing that I have faith in.
Yeah.
And it gets very hard in this industry, and in your industry, I'm sure it's like the same way too, but I'm just saying it gets very hard sometimes to believe that thing is true, what I just said. Because we see that untalented people are rewarded or bad people get ahead quicker. And this is just in this one aspect. I could talk about my life and shit too, but I think in this one aspect, I do have faith in that thing. And I do have to, there are times when I feel that put to the test, where you feel hopeless. Yeah. And, when they announce new faces or the top 10 comedians.
Just for
like,
laughs.
This fucking loser, this thing, and nobody's like paying attention to me or anything. These are thoughts that cross your mind. I do think it is important that I have faith in those, to see those things put to the test.
Yeah.
And to persevere. Like, no matter what happens, that is true to me. I believe those things, and no one could take those away to me. What matters the most when you're a stand-up comic is how funny you are in the room. Mm-hmm. And even though you're not rewarded for that financially a lot of the times, for me as a stand-up, that stand-ups are very important to me. That's what I believe is all that matters is what happens in that room. Even at open mics on that Thursday at the Chatterbox or last night at the mic I went to, that you get up, that you show up prepared, and that by doing this thing, that God's given me this thing to do, and I'm doing the thing, and that's enough. And that all the rewards that come after, they're going to come or they won't, but that's enough. That this is the most important thing, whatever your art is, too. That God has put in your heart something that you have to do, and even though it doesn't seem like you're going to be rewarded for it, you're doing it because it's the thing you feel in your heart you're supposed to do.
Yeah. I put it as like I do stand-up. I could do open mics till I die, right? The way I see it is like I feel normal when I'm on. Like I got this mic last night and I was just like, oh, here we go again. You know what I'm saying? Like it makes me feel normal. Like I feel like I belong on stage in front of these people right now. But
that's because you do a lot of shows. It's because you do a lot of open mics, and because and this verses plays out is you're gonna keep going through trials. You're gonna eat shit.
Yeah,
that's one thing I do love about stand-up is it's so much like life. Is that no matter how good you are, if you go to a mic in Orange County, there's a very good chance if you are not playing at the top of your game, you're going to eat shit there.
Yeah.
I love that because life, you will constantly be eating shit. But yeah, you go to mics, you put your faith to the test, you persevere so that at some point it's wringing out all the bad stuff. It's taking away weaknesses. It's, you're putting, if we're talking about comedy, but your relationships too. Julie and I, before the pandemic, I told her I did not want to get married again. I just absolutely did not want to. I don't believe in the institution. at all. I'm polyamorous. I'm bisexual. All this crazy shit, which is all real. But ultimately, when we were making plans for the pandemic, especially, I don't know if you guys remember how scary it was the first like month or 2 months, we were like, well, if we don't work for a couple of years, we could go live with your folks, or we could live with my brother. And all my plans were included this woman. And I know very much that she wanted to be married. And like, to me, I'm like, how long can I fight this? I want to make her happy. I love her so much. And so we got married, and I'm so happy about it.
Yeah.
I couldn't have known I was going to be the happy.
Yeah.
I like being her husband. It feels good to even say I'm her husband. I forgot. Why am I talking about this right now?
The perseverance, and also in the terms of stand-up, basically doing what you're supposed to do, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is go on stage and make people laugh.
Yes. I don't know why I brought up my marriage.
It was really beautiful. I was just like, I got caught in it, dude.
Yeah, I got caught in it too, fool. But I don't remember why. Let's read this verse one more time. And then we'll wrap it up. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete and not lacking anything. See? It feels good.
Yeah, and then there's a second part to it. Or am I wrong?
You're wrong.
Oh, okay. I thought you read
There's
more.
the next verse. No. Hold on, let me think. No. Oh, no. Because the next verses are crazy. And we shouldn't go. I mean, here's the thing, too. We shouldn't go without saying, we kind of dissected that. We're having fun. We're talking. But the thing that's crazy about Christianity, and I think Buddhism does this too, is that he said, consider it pure joy.
Yeah.
I mean, you've had pure joy before, right?
Yeah.
It ain't going to be over trials. It ain't going to be over problems.
Yeah.
But that's how the Bible says we need to look at these things. They're challenges, but ultimately it wrings all the weakness out of us.
Yeah.
Spiritually, physically, emotionally, all that stuff. We're supposed to be happy. You know, if you get a flat tire, you'll see on Christian movies and stuff, they're all like lucky, oh yeah, oh, this is great, man. It's God's plan. No. Fuck that. Fuck that. What James is telling us to do here is near impossible, but I do think it's something to strive for.
Yeah, dude, the most annoying thing when you're in an argument with somebody is if they're happy about it. Am I wrong?
I mean, because they're usually jerks.
Yeah, exactly.
But there is something to be like, I have found when problems come up, the older I get and the more I deal with people, is that, okay, I'm glad this is coming up right now. Yeah. I want these things to come up because I've been on the other side of the things. I know that relationships do get stronger. It's if we could talk these out, if we could fix this one problem, it allows people to air their grievances, and then people feel like, I love this person. We've been through shit. Yeah. So whenever you can come up with a way in your life, I'm not saying God, I don't think these things exist. I think they exist outside of God. But you could either look at them as, woe is me, this fucking sucks, I can't believe this is happening to me again. Or you could look at it as, this is an opportunity for me to become a stronger version of myself in every way, for this relationship to be stronger, for how I believe things are to become stronger. I don't care what the entertainment industry does with me ultimately, and that's taken years to figure that. The longer I do it, it's harder to say that, but I also know I'm working with my friends, with people that I love, and with people that I respect. When I go to an open mic last night, when I go to a mic this Thursday, that's all there is. That if that's all there is, I'm happy and full of joy, and I'm grateful to be there. So that's this week. Let me look right over here to tell you guys what you want to read, if you in fact want to read about this. Let's see, James chapter 1, verse 5 is the next one. Damn, it's just one page. It's just one page. Just one verse. That's all you got, baby, next week. Please follow us on YouTube. Follow us on iTunes Podcast. Follow us on Spotify, on Stitcher. Tell your friends about us. And then follow our Instagram. I'm going to start posting Instagram shit with a bunch of Christian shit. And, I'll tape stuff of pastors and everything. I love the shit. I'm not like, I'm teasing it because I love it. It's all my family. I do think a big portion of Christianity has gone astray. I'm here to bring you back, baby. Please, thank you, Gerardo. We'll see you next week. Gerardo, where can we find you on the internet?
At Geloldo, Geloldo, and listen to my other podcast, Isimo, and shout out Joyce Meyer.
Yeah, Joyce Meyers. Word.
Word.